Now, you stopped attending school in middle school to go on tour. Just talk a little bit about what that experience was like for some people that might not know what going on tour is, and for just a young-ass kid stopping middle school to go on tour. What was that even like?
I mean, I ain't actually know that's what was happening. You know what I mean? It just was going like, I was dancing. So, you know, the Fresh Fest was the first time they ever had a Fresh Fest anywhere. It was in Atlanta. They had Run-DMC and all of them. This is the first shows in Atlanta. Shout out to Ricky Walker. He's the person who actually created the Fresh Fest.
Fresh Fest is Run-DMC, obviously. Run-DMC, Whodini.
Fat Boys, Whodini, Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash. This was the first rap tour, period.
This is the golden.
It's incredible.
There's never been an era better than this, according to me. But I mean, just my opinion, I always feel like, you know, when people start these debates, I'll be like, yo, that is it. Those are the pioneers. But go ahead. You was a dancer and you made it on tour.
Yeah, so they also had the Dynamic Breakers, the New York City Breakers. They had all these breaking crews on there as well. So it was like dancing and rapping. But they needed an opener. This was at a time when they need an opener. You don't get no money. You just go out there and waste time, burn the time off, right?
It was still like that in '93. Go ahead. That shit ain't changed.
I'm like, cool. I ain't tripping. I'm 12 years old, so I don't care. I'm going on stage. This is the first time I ever seen this many people in the arena. They gave me an opportunity to go out there and do probably had 3 minutes, just me dancing. That's a long time, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Dancing. You ain't got no routine. You just
I can't believe they had cameras back there. Like, they got you dancing to some of them shits, on camera. You know how vital that shit is right now?
VCR tape. What is it?
I seen you dancing. I seen you personally. But hip-hop, how would you get hip-hop in Atlanta? Because here in New York,
it was only Pirate Radio.
Not even. It was Red Alert once a week.
Magic.
And Mr. Magic. Yeah. And then Awesome 2 overnight. How do you get the new shit? How do you get the new music, the new hip hop that was coming down? How did it get to the ATL?
Well, it wasn't there when I started.
Wasn't there?
This was pre all that. You know what I mean?
So how you dancing? Like, how you know?
I mean,
breaking was everywhere.
Yeah, breaking was everywhere. You watching breaking, you watching,
B Street
and these movies. But I was doing talent shows. You know what I mean? So I started doing talent shows. I was doing Michael Jackson in talent shows. So Michael Jackson routine be 2 minutes. You could do a 2-minute Michael Jackson routine. I started doing Michael Jackson, and then I started paying attention to hip hop, and I seen I could add this, I could add this. I just started learning things, but I still wasn't great. I just was good because I was 12, right? Little kids, they get away with it.
Yeah, you get a little more of a pass.
Yeah, pass, right? Go ahead. You're like a clown at the circus. You know what I mean? Go ahead, do what you gotta do. So, I was winning talent shows, and that's what happened. So I started winning all these little talent shows around around Atlanta, or I come in second place or whatever it is. And so they was like, yo, let him go out there and do what he got to do. So I went up on the stage, and I did my perfect little time. I got off. I wasn't tripping. You know what I mean? Made them hit their time, and they was like, you know what? We need to keep somebody to do this. And I'm like, you know what I mean? And I wasn't even paying attention to everything that came with it because I didn't know nothing about me getting out of school and all this. I tried to do the right way, but this was so early in life. Atlanta had never had an artist that would go on tour at 12 years old. So we didn't even have a school system thing that was set up where they could take my grades and while I was on the road and count them as credits. I mean, I did all the work. And I had a tutor, and we tried to do it. But when I came back, they was like, we can't accept this. You got to do it. You got to do that grade again. I'm like, oh, nah, no.
Oh, great.
And after that, I had already been to 50 cities at 12. So I was like, oh, no, I'm done. I got to figure this out. I got to figure it out. So then the second year, I was on the Fresh Fest for 3 years, 84, 85, and 86. And in 86 is when I started rapping. I added a rapping to it. And by then, it was a guy in Atlanta named Shadi, who was actually from the Bronx, he came to Atlanta. He started bringing...
He got mad every time they mention the Bronx on this show. He might be a slight.
Oh yeah,
You might be a slight
Nah,
hater.
just everything's from the Bronx.
What the fuck you want me to
Martha
do?
Stewart's from the Bronx, if you ask it.
What you want me to do? Yeah, Shadi was from the Bronx.
Yes, yeah. So he, so Shadi came. He started, he introduced me to what the Zulu Nation was. All of this, hip hop, right?
Hip-hop shit.
But I couldn't rap. I still couldn't do. But he taught me how to like write my rap. So he wrote my first rap when I was on the Fresh Fest, and I started doing the rap and performing the rap. And then that's when the rest of the guys, those Whodini and all of them, they start seeing that I was more into that than dancing. So then Jam Master Jay taught me how to DJ, like really hands on.
You heard that?
Yeah. And then
Jam
then Grandmaster D started showing me tricks. And I just started learning from the best. Like,
Jam Master Jay, man, he taught me a lot, and when I was coming up, man, I had a little flojo. I ain't never want to leave the Bronx. And he kept talking to me. Yo, you ever been to Detroit? You ever been to Chicago? You ever been? Like, he was trying to tell you need to get out there, Joe, so you only want to be in the Bronx. And so rest in peace, Jam Master Jay.
yeah.
So I want to get back to this one thing. When hip hop came to Atlanta, how did it get to Atlanta?
Greyhound.
The migration of a lot
Primo's
of
from Texas, and Primo said his cousins used to drive over there with tapes of Mr. Magic and Red Alert.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to establish.
Basically it was like the migration of a lot of New Yorkers start coming to Atlanta. Like I said, Shadi is from New York. So it seemed like more and more New Yorkers start coming to Atlanta. And then you start seeing like little parties and these pop up that was like, oh, this is hip hop. But then it was also like the artist was coming, right? The artists were coming, more and more artists was coming to Atlanta. Then they had a dance show in Atlanta that was only our local dance show, right? And it just, how it was coming in and out. We still only had a radio station, which was V103. They only played rap.
There, Jack the Rap. That's the first time I ever been in any shit like that.
That's
was
Jack
Atlanta.
Yeah. So we have, the station, they only play hip hop on Friday night for an hour.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So on that Friday night and that hour, I was right there like
kids
this.
don't understand. They got the shit on their phone like water.
You used to have to stay up. You used to have to be on point to catch rap.
I never forget. Khaled dropped Wow 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 on a Thursday. Friday, I was like in Paris somewhere at a show, and they threw that shit on, and the whole crowd was like, wow, wow, wow. I was like, it makes you think about when you only heard hip hop on Friday and Saturday. And I'm like, shit, this shit across the world in one day. But at that time, we had to look for it.
Yeah.
Right?
The tissue and the tape over the cassette. Taping over shit, it's a mix, right?
Me, I grew up in the Bronx, and so, my guys, man, we had like a public phone in front of the building, and they used to break the public phone and use the electricity to put the boombox. So the bigger guys, shout out to AJ, GP, Craigo, rest in peace, my brother, they used to put the boombox on, and then they played the Awesome 2. That was at 4 a.m, shit like that. So I would be a kid out the window listening to the shit overnight. Like, they would play whole other kind of music, underground music that they wouldn't play with Red Alert.
So they was like Bobito and Stretch before Bobito.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And
so so in '86, I met Chad Elliott. And Chad Elliott was part of Charles Stetler crew.
Shout out
and
to Chad.
when the Fat Boys won that contest in Crush Groove, Chad came in second place.
Yep.
Yeah, he came in second place, right? So they put Charles Stetler was like, we need to put this kid on the tour if y'all got Jermaine on the tour, right? So then they worked out for Chad to get on the tour as well. So then me and Chad met, and we hit it off, and then we started hanging out, and then I moved to Brooklyn with him and stayed at his house on Eastern Parkway. And that's when I started like becoming a sponge.
You caught the pure
sponge.
I was a kid. I never forget. I was a kid, and my aunt, my godmother, she lived in Brooklyn on East New York in Summit. She had a little house, but I remember the kids. I used to spend all summers in Brooklyn, and the kids was like, "Yo, come!" And we went to the projects, and they had a jam, and they played this record. And I guess I grew up I just didn't know, right? But they played this record where I actually walked up to the DJ and it was SOS band. It was Baby, We Can Do It, Take Your Time, do it. And I was just like,
That's my rock.
that shit must have hit every endorphin in the, like, I was like a kid, but I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, this shit is crazy. I felt like it was only a Brooklyn thing, right? But you in Brooklyn, you caught everything. So you was here, you caught
and I learned like what was the difference between where I in Atlanta and New York immediately. Because they was bricking me with everything I had on. You know what I mean? Like, they was telling me I was looking like a country bum. Niggas in East New York was saying whatever.
Oh no, they don't care.
I was going to Bronx
same way. They don't give a fuck. They talk about your mom's walking in the building, everything.
That's crazy. I got chased by Decepticons and all that.
Word.
So you was outside.
You was fast too, because you had to get away from them things.